What's up, you guys? I know. I'm not happy about it either, boys. All right. I send my condolences out to everybody that tailed me on that last free official play that I gave out, which was on Belal Muhammad in the main event at UFC 315. It seemed the writing was on the wall, though, guys. All right. We were due for a loss. The streak on those free official plays was crazy. I should have stuck to the trend, which was taking those underdogs in those pay-per-view main event spots, right? The one time, ironically, I take the favorite in Belal Muhammad. Of course, he doesn't come through. That was a weird fight, all right? I was not happy with the tactics that Belal had, but I don't want to take away from anything that JDM did because he is just a phenomenal fighter. And in my opinion, probably like top 3 most exciting fighters to watch in the fight game right now, okay? And we saw the takedown defense was on point and the get-up game was on point, but I was not a fan of how Belal Muhammad took the first 2 rounds to just make it a straight up kickboxing match. I thought that he should have been pressing from the get-go, and the way he was going to prevail in that fight was proving to have better cardio and better grappling in a grueling type of affair. Okay, I just didn't see him getting his hand raised in a fight where the bulk majority of the fight was a kickboxing match against a fighter that moves like JDM. I mean, that dude is just phenomenal. But without a doubt, he was using a lot of tactics that enabled him to avoid being taken down too, you know, so he did a lot well, okay, and that fight really did come down to the 5th round, okay. I was in agreement with the scoring. You guys let me know what you think there, but it came down to that 5th round. If Belal Muhammad would have secured a position down on the mat when he had JDM there, maybe he would have rode the end of that round out, he would have defended his belt, all right, but you got to give props to JDM, man. You saw the way he spun out of that, jump back up to his feet, continued to land damage. What a fight, man. I'll take that L. Okay, I'll take that L. And I'm really happy to now know that we have a champion of the division like JDM instead of Belal. I mean, that's the silver lining when it's all said and done. Obviously, I'd rather have the money in my pocket, and I would have much rather have had you guys cash there. But just to talk about that. But I'm now looking to make it up to you guys starting here, okay? I'm throwing 3 prop bets towards your guys' way for the UFC Vegas 106 fight card that's taking place this weekend. I'm going to cap the video off with a Longshot Parlay. Wouldn't that be great if we cashed in on the Longshot Parlay? Put some money in our pockets there. So that's what I'm looking to do. But I also will put out another free official play video. I'll put that out very soon. Okay, and we have a lot of big fights coming up. It'll be for one of those big pay-per-view events as Dana White's announcing them left and right. And just a heads up, I'm going to do a preview video on all those big fights that are coming up down the line, right? We had a lot of new bouts officially announced, huge bouts, right? If you guys are sleeping under a rock and you didn't hear, Dricus du Plessis will be taking on Khamzat Chimaev August 16th at UFC 319. I'm going to do a video where I quickly preview that fight. I'm going to preview RDR versus Whitaker. Maybe we'll take a quick look at Holloway versus Poirier 3. And then my boy Ilya Topuria will be taking on Charles do Bronx Oliveira for that vacant lightweight title. All right, so I think a lot of you guys already know how I think that fight's going to go. But so we will have that preview video coming out probably next week, as it's going to be kind of an off week with no event taking place that following weekend. All right, guys, don't forget, if you guys want my official targets for this card, you guys can reach out to me, whether it's through email or DM me on Instagram. I'll give you further details there. And you guys can also sign up through my referral link to Bovada, and I'll give you my entire slate for this card for free. That offer is always on the table for you guys. Go catch me on my social media. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. You're gonna get all types of content coming your guys' way like this. Let's go talk about that first target.
The teller.
All right, boys, let's hit the clean sweep with these 3 prop targets. The first bout I want to talk about is taking place in the women's strawweight division between Denise Gomes and Elise Reed. We know that women's strawweight bouts go to a decision at a very high clip. All right, we understand that, but typically when you take a look at the lines on them to do that, they're very high. That's not really the case here, and that's based on the fact that Elise Reed has been finished in all 4 of her fights. Okay, Denise Gomes kicked off her UFC career with 2 knockouts in a row, right? She went out there, knocked out Bruna Brazil and Yasmin Jauregui. Okay, so people have always kind of looked at her as this big power puncher. Okay, since those 2 victories, her last 3 bouts have all gone to a decision. She's 2-1. All right, she wasn't even able to knock out an aged Karolina Kovacevic, who's very stiff with her stand-up. She's very stiff defensively. Gomes couldn't finish her. Okay, I'm not saying that Gomes doesn't possess power, but is it really a lock that she's going to go out there and knock Elise Reed out? I don't think so, especially as Elise Reed has looked pretty decent. She does come in off a decision victory over Jessica Penne. She's 32 years old. She's still progressing as a fighter. She has some scattered decision victory wins next to a bunch of losses where she was finished. Okay, I do acknowledge the 4 losses where she was finishing all of them. Okay, she was submitted by Loma Lukbumi. That wasn't a good look. Submitted by Lupi Garinez. Sam Hughes finished her with strikes. Sajar Eubanks finished her with strikes, although she was a much younger and more green fighter back then. I'm going to say that we see the continued evolution in Elise Reed to the point where even if she takes the L here like she's supposed to, as she's a massive underdog, I'm going to say she can make it to the final bell. All right. And also, if she somehow has massive success in this fight, she's a fighter that is typically winning by decision. I don't see her knocking out Denise Gomes. And we're getting a woman's strawweight bout to go to a decision here. And look at the line we're getting, -170. That's a very low line compared to the normal rates you're going to get. So I think there's some value on that one. I'm gonna throw some plus action towards your guys' way here in a second, but I'm kicking things off with the -170 target on this fight to go to a decision. Okay, either fighter can have success. Okay, and it's not out of the realm that Reed has some success in this fight. I'm telling you guys now. So maybe we see kind of a kickboxing match where nobody really lands that fight-ending strike. Maybe we see a little bit of clinch work. Gomes presses a little bit, but just doesn't find that finish. All right, and all in all, I do have Gomes winning this fight via unanimous decision. We'll jump up to the main card at 155. We have the return of Sadiq Yusuf, who's taking on Myron Santos. Santos was just in there. The vast majority of the fight game had Santos taking an L against Francis Marshall. I would say, not to talk too much about that, I think that was a closer fight than people really gathered if you really were dissecting it. But yeah, it's very fair to say that he should have took an L there. And what it really boiled down to was him making a mistake in the first round and getting hurt. Okay, so defensively, he was not looking that sharp, and that could be a problem against a hard hitter like Yusuf. Okay, I think that Yusuf is very live to land and knock out on Santos. We've seen Santos finished up back in the day by Dan Argueta, got finished up via ground and pound back in 2022. Yusuf is a seasoned vet who is dangerous here, and maybe we're realizing that Santos is still a green fighter. He has 16 pro fights, but that was not an impressive performance. Okay, and that last bout against Marshall, again, defensively, he was very stiff and kind of looking at his work as he was throwing. I like some of the combinations you'll mix up offensively, okay, but he's there to be countered. There's just no question about it. And then when you're taking a look at Yusuf is a fighter that is coming off a first-round KO loss against Diego Lopez. He was hurt in the Edson Barbosa fight in that 5-rounder. He was hurt as well. Okay, so there's some defensive flaws going on with him. But you take a look at a lot of his big victories, and they have come by way of knockout. A lot of big knockout victories. You can date back to 2017 where he did take a first-round knockout loss against Luis Gomez at Titan FC 47, a fighter that I'm familiar with over there from the Titan FC scene. Okay, but we have seen, I just mentioned that to say that we have seen Yusuf hurt as well. I think that there is a strong possibility that we see a finish here. And I also want to mention the Gabriel Benitez fight where he had a first-round KO victory. He was hurt in the beginning portion of that fight. He was almost finished up. Okay, well, when that fight kicked off, that was that big UFC 241 fight card headline by Miocic and Cormier. All right, so I could easily see this being a fight where they are trading heavy and somebody gets hurt and finished up. All right, I think that it's very possible to happen. And at plus 150 odds, I see some value there. You got 3 rounds for that to occur. I like the value on this fight to end inside the distance. And then we have the main event between the young phenom, the 25-year-old Michael Morales, who's ranked 12th. He's taking on the vet, Gilbert Burns. Take a look at the line movement that we've seen. Okay, right off the rip, check this out. Morales opened up as a -470 back on April 30th. He's now a -1,000. Okay, so crazy confidence on Morales. You see the masses backing him, just throwing the kitchen sink at him. I mean, that line, what are you going to do with that line? Obviously, that's not going to be our target here. We're going to get to our target. But I just want to say this. I cannot wait to see Michael Morales fighting fighters like Jack Della Maddalena, Carlos Pratis, Ian Gary, because we know those fights are going to eventually happen. All right. You don't have to look at them like, does Morales have to make a run at the title right now in order to fight JDM? I mean, there's so many moving parts that are going to happen in this division over the next couple of years. But the thing you have to understand is that they're all young. All these top fighters are so young in this division. So no matter how things shake out, you're going to see Morales fight Jack Della Maddalena or Carlos Prates. It might be for the belt. It might not be for the belt, depending on how that gold changes hands over the next couple of years, because we easily could see that belt rotating between all the top talent in this division. So that's a good thing. Okay, that's a good thing for us as fight fans. We're going to see so many high-level, exciting fights in this division. Morales is going to be a name that you're going to have to get very familiar with when you're talking about the pinnacle of the welterweight division. Just 25 years old. Okay, the boxing, the striking is nasty. He's well-rounded. Okay, I think he's going to hurt Burns in this fight. I think he's going to finish Gilbert Burns up here. All right, Burns has been a pretty durable fighter, even when you take a look at some of his recent losses. We know JDM finished him late in that bout, but he was able to go to a decision against Brady and Muhammad. Had a couple victories before that. Of course, in the Chimaev loss that he had back in 2022 was actually a great showing of himself. Okay, but Gilbert Burns is now 38 years old. He was injured in that Bilal Muhammad fight, so that's I think durability is a little bit of an issue for him too. Don't be shocked if you see him kind of hurt in one way or another. Maybe he doesn't answer the bell. Not a slight on him. I mean, maybe he physically really can't. That's something to keep an eye on. I think that Michael Morales is probably going to TKO him, though, just land something heavy in this fight. And I'm liking the under 3.5 rounds, okay, which you can catch right now right around -130. It was at +120 when it initially opened up back in May. But I still see value on this line. I don't see this fight making it past 3.5 rounds. I think Morales gets him out of there. Of course, with this type of target, if Burns was able to somehow land a big strike as they exchange or get on it back and secure a rear naked choke, I mean, he has high level BJJ. You got that in the mix too. But I mean, what we're really looking at here is Morales getting Burns out of there. Okay, so if you want, I mean, you could try to look at Morales specifically with a couple props here. Morales to win inside the distance is at -165. I'll throw that out to you guys as well. Kind of mix that in here so you get the entire 25 minutes to work, which we are narrowing in on Morales getting the finish. So it's a different type of line though, but that's something I like too. But I think Morales is going to have massive success in this main event here, and I cannot wait to see who he fights next. And I want to know your guys' opinion. Comment below. Who does Morales take on next after he gets a W here? Sound the bells, boys. You guys know what time it is. It is time for the long shot parlay. We're due to hit a big one here, boys. We're due. If you're new here and you don't know what we're doing, we're looking for a massive parlay for this fight card. We're going to get it up in the +1000s, and we're going to kick it off with, let's see, who are we going to kick this thing off with? We got to get this line up there. I'm going to throw Yadier Davaye in the mix right off the rip, because I do have a good amount of confidence that he's going to go out there and finish up Connor Matthews, or at the very least get a W. But I think he does get a finish in that fight, or it's likely he gets a knockout, right? The defensive flaws of Matthews are an issue. He's coming off some knockout losses, and Davaye is a young fighter that's showing to continue to develop. So don't be shocked if he gets a finish, but we're just taking the easy money line there. We're kicking things off with that. Got to throw Tisha Pennington up in the mix. That line has been dipping down as well. So we're going to lock her in there at -325. Get that piece going there. What else do we got, boys? Let's take a look. What else do we got here? We've seen some action coming in on Camilo, the fighter that's making his debut, which if you guys caught that recent Dana White's looking for a fight, we saw him kind of featured there, as his opponent was supposed to be the featured fighter, but it was Camilo that went out there and really showcased some skill. We're going to throw him up in the mix there. All right. I think there's probably a reason why we see action coming in on him. Green's a crafty fighter, but he's been absent from the fight game for some time. Camilo looked good in the highlights that we saw in that bout there. So we'll throw him up in the mix. We got to shake things up here, boys. We got to get this line jumping up. Let's see what else we got here. We have to throw Michael Morales in the mix. All right. He is available on DraftKings at -850. Okay, we'll lock that in. I know we've said in some of these sports books he's up in the we've seen him, up in the -1000 range, but we're going to throw him in there just because it's a lock. All right, boys? And wouldn't that be funny if Burns spoils the long shot, if that was the only one? But let's see here. I guess we got to make some moves here, boys. We're throwing Sadiq Yusuf up in the mix. That's going to jump us all the way up to a +439. Ooh, we got to do something else here, boys. What do we got? What do we got? We got to shake things up here, boys. If we're going to get this up in the plus 1000s, okay, we can't just take another big favorite. So I think you guys know what we got to do here. We got to take Thiago Moises, the younger, more primed fighter. I know he typically falls short against the highest level fighters of the fight game that he gets matched up with, but I think he has the ability to go out there and defeat a 36-year-old Gordon. I mean, I don't want to overlook Gordon completely. He's tough as nails and he could prevail, but I like Moises there. I do like Moises, and that will get us to plus 953. How about that, boys? All right, does that work for you? All right, I think we'll leave it at that. We got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 6-team parlay at plus 953, depending on what odds you can get there. Let's cash this one. I like that. Let's leave that as that is, and let's cash that. So that will wrap up our prop targets for UFC Vegas 106. Don't forget, boys, if you want my official targets for the card, reach out to me. I'll give you further detail. Shoot me an email, DM me. You guys know how to get a hold of me. And also, we always have that offer. If you're looking to sign up to that new book, I'll give you my referral link. You'll get an added bonus and all that. And I will give you my entire slate for free. But I do like my targets for this card. We need to cash big as we have a break and fights the following week. So I want to be chilling on my week off with some nice profits, feeling good coming off the dub. So I think that's going to be the case. All right, boys, please smash the like button. I hope you guys all have a great next 2 weeks until we talk again. All right, like I said, I had that video coming your guys' way where I'm going to preview all those big fights. I hope to catch you there. Meet me in the comment section, boys. Please meet me in the comment section. Signing out. Teller.
The teller. The teller. The teller.